floor at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were cutting today. I thought you were skipping the floor meeting today.
Okay, we're live.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for coming. I thank you very much for just being here, because you know that we have to conduct the business of Prince George's County. And so, as you know, we have to do this as expeditiously as possible, because at 7 o'clock we have to be on the Senate floor. And I want everyone to understand who's listening in that the reason we have to be on the floor is the same reason why we had to be here this morning until 2:30. We are working on the police reform bill. We worked until 2:30 this morning. We're going back at 7 o'clock because we are bound and determined to pass a police reform bill. And we are saying that forever long it takes for us to stay here to get it done, we are hoping that we can get it done tonight to move it along, because that is the priority for us, not only in Prince George's County, but in the great state of Maryland. So I want to thank you all so very much for listening in on, and also for the fact that you understand that a number of public hearings have taken place regarding these bills that we're talking about tonight. The first public hearing for these bills was November the 19th at 7 o'clock. The second hearing was February the 2nd, a public hearing. We've had 2 public hearings, but on several of these bills, we've had as many as 400 public hearings. So we won't talk about that right now. The first bill that we need to entertain is House Bill 615. Mr. Vice Chair, do you want to make some remarks before we get started?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon to all. Not in particular, not at this point. I'm ready to go with the flow and do what we got to do and get out.
Okay, thank you very much. House Bill 615, that's where we're going to start. Natural Resources, Sunday Deer Hunting and Archery Hunting Safety Zones, Prince George's County. Madam Attorney, are you ready to tell us what this bill does?
I am, Madam Chair. Thank you. House Bill 615 authorizes the DNR to allow a person to hunt deer on each Sunday of the deer hunting seasons on private property in Prince George's County. The bill also reduces the safety zone for archery hunters in Prince George's County by specifying that archery hunters may not hunt within 50 yards from a dwelling house, residence, church, or any other building or camp occupied by human beings.
Okay, and I might want to add, in addition to that, written permission must be received from the landowner to hunt on private land. The document must be carried at all times while hunting. Further, the state of Maryland has designed safety zones that restrict hunting in residential areas in Prince George's County, and it also prohibits the use of rifles. Consequently, this affects how far a bullet is likely to travel when hunting deer in areas where hunting is legally permitted. Are there any questions regarding House Bill 615? What is your pleasure?
Move favorable.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved in second that we move House Bill 615 to the proper committee. Are you ready to vote?
Question.
Those in favor, I would like to signify by saying aye.
Madam Chair,
Aye.
Madam Chair, before we vote, just briefly. Yeah, I'm going to be voting against it. You know, while it's only on private property, bullets don't know where the end of the property line is. And there are a lot of people who like the outdoors, people who hike, people who bird watch, people who ride horses. And I just think this takes away the only day they have from going out there knowing they're going to be safe. So, I mean, hunters can go out on Saturday, they can go out during the week. And I think we got to have some kind of limited time. Again, while it's on private property, property ends and bullets keep flying. So it makes me nervous, and I think we have to strike a balance. I'm not sure this does it. I'll be voting no.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, can we have a roll call on this one, then, Destiny?
Destiny, you're muted.
Of course, I'm muted. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we'll begin with Senator Augustine,
No.
Senator Griffith,
I vote aye.
Senator Jackson,
Aye.
Senator Rosapep,
Aye.
Senator Patterson,
Aye.
Senator Peters,
Aye.
Senator Pinsky,
No.
and Chair Benson.
Aye. Having received the adequate votes, we're going to move that bill on. Next is House Bill 619. Madam Chair, Madam Attorney.
Bill authorizes the governing body of Prince George's County, after reasonable notice and a public hearing, to place a speed monitoring system on highways in residential districts with a maximum posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour.
Madam
Chair.
Attorney, just a quick question. Is this enabling legislation?
Correct. It's authorizing.
I move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we,
Senator Benson, Senator Griffith has had her hand up.
okay,
Oh,
all right.
Now, Madam Chair, I was just going to
Wait a minute,
share.
before, I'm sorry. Before we do that, you said you've got a second on it?
Yes.
Okay, okay, now we're up for discussion.
I'll just let the roll call proceed. I'll hold my comments.
Okay,
Well,
All
then,
right.
then before we vote, I hate to do this again. I don't remember there being a serious conversation about this, either the interim or this fall. And this basically gives authority to the county to place it in almost virtually all of the small residential neighborhoods. I don't think they're going to be coming to us asking before they approve it. So I think this is going from a fairly narrow interpretation we've had for about 8 years to a very broad one. And I think it's a pretty big jump without guardrails. And I apologize, Delegate, for not getting back to you. I've been running around, so I know you wanted to talk about this. I just, it's a big swipe, and I understand it can't be done for the money, or it might not be done for the money, because after 10 or 20%, people can't hold on to it. I still think it's a great leap. And while we don't want cars speeding in our neighborhoods, I don't want it speeding in my neighborhood. We also know our constituents don't want to get a speed camera ticket a whole lot either. So I would have rather have an extended conversation and more guardrails. So I'll be voting no.
okay,
Madam Chair,
yes.
I apologize. I will circle back and share with the group. I did have an opportunity to have an extensive conversation with the sponsor and got many of my concerns addressed. If I were to even think about any modification to the bill, it would be simply that we check back in a couple of years to find out if the authorization that we're extending is overreaching or anything like that. But in light of the checks and balances that she shared with me and the issues that I know, the harm that the bill seeks to address, I'll be voting favorably on this bill, but I'll be watching its implementation closely. And if I find concerns about it overreaching, I'll come back with a bill with her support, I hope, moving forward to make sure that we tighten it up if we find that it's being overutilized. So,
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes,
So this bill was actually introduced last year, but it got COVIDed to complete it. And so my chair, Chair Barbe, had asked that we represent it and we walk through all of the necessary steps that we're supposed to. And so we're here now. There are a number of guardrails that are in based on procedures that are already in place. And, I'm fairly confident that we're not going to have, cameras in every location where there's a maximum speed limit of 35. I would agree with Senator Griffith that we should come back and revisit it. for that very reason. And I have absolutely no objection to that.
Okay, any other
Madam
comments?
Chair, Madam
Yes.
Chair.
Yes,
This is Jim Rosenbaum. I just want to speak up for the bill. I'm much more concerned about speeding than I am about speeding tickets. Having been someone who has occasionally speeded and has gotten speeding tickets. Speeding is a lot more dangerous than speeding tickets. And I think as Montgomery County experimented with this like 10 years ago, as we went statewide with it, it's shown to be very effective. And the reason that the net revenues for Prince George's are down over the past 6 or 7 years we've done this is in the first years, people keep speeding, then they get tickets, then they slow down. And so I think it's a proven way to save lives. And so I'm actually very supportive of this and appreciate the delegate for bringing it forward.
okay.
Madam Chair, I mean, given that people want to do a look back, could we do a 2 or 3 year sunset that forces us to come back and look at it?
I would not support that, Senator.
Okay, well, I'm going to move a 3 year sunset. I don't know if there's a second or not.
Okay, on the bill. Can we get a motion for?
Favorable,
I'm sorry.
favorable.
Okay, can we get a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's been moved properly second that we move favorable on Senate Bill 619. Are you ready to vote? Those who are in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposition? You have one opposition? Okay. We don't need to have a roll call, do we? Okay, moving
Just
Yeah. Right.
moving right along. House Bill 625, alcohol density zones and licenses. Delegate Lewis. Madam Attorney.
This bill authorizes the Prince George's County Board of License Commissioners to approve the transfer of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with an off-sale privilege into the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, or 47th alcoholic beverages district in the county if the original license premises is located in an alcohol density zone. An alcohol density zone is defined to mean a census tract having an average of 3 or more licensed premises with a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license per square mile.
Madam Chair, Madam
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
is Jim
Can we
Rosenbaum.
get a motion, or can we get a motion before we discuss it?
I would actually like to move to hold it, and it's not because I'm trying to kill the bill, because I had a chance to talk with Delegate Lewis at some length about this. He provided a lot of information, and he made me much more comfortable with it. But the one piece of information that he was not able to get by this afternoon was an actual map from Park and Planning of exactly what the zones are in our districts. And I would really appreciate the opportunity to look at the exact zones in my district before we vote on this.
Well, how soon you think you're gonna be able to get there, Senator?
He thought quickly. He'd asked him for it, and he didn't. I talked to him like 3 hours ago. He didn't have it, and I said I'm not holding it up to kill it. I'm holding it up to actually see what I'm voting on. And he said he was fine with that.
Okay, what is the
Well,
pleasure? of the senators?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask a question also. And that is, I mean, I'm told I have more, my district falls in the range of having more than we should have.
Average.
And I guess my question is, if we allow some of mine to go out of my district to another district, if you have fewer than the marker, do you want more off-sale liquor places in your district? Because if we pass the bill as it is, your right to say no thank you is gone. So I just don't know if people want more liquor stores. Historically, most of your predecessor colleagues said, we're fine with the number we have now. This bill would allow it to go from heavy districts to lighter districts.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Now, Madam Chair, first of all, Senator Rosenbaum, having spent a year on the work group to look at these alcohol density zones, we do in fact have those maps, so we can definitely get that to you in relative short order. So we can definitely do that. And so I would just ask that we can hold it to get that for you, so you have some level of comfort. And again, the concept of this was definitely to allow for those who are in underserved neighborhoods versus those that are in overly saturated neighborhoods to reduce the alcohol density. I mean, that's what this was about. And so it would be an application process. They would have to go through all of that in order to make it happen. But definitely happy to get you even more information, including the maps, so that you can have a level of comfort.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, if I might, in answer to Paul's question, that's what I asked Jazz. And evidently, the way the bill works, and I'm sure everybody else knew this except me, it allows you to move or to sell to an area that is not in a density zone or would not create a density zone if they moved. And so conceptually, I think it actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, I have a couple of, looking at rough maps, the countywide map, which is not that detailed. I have obviously College Park, but I also have Laurel, but I have areas that aren't that dense. And so actually at the end of the day, I'm not that concerned about moving to the areas that aren't that dense, but I want to be sure that I understand what the definitions are and can actually see the geography before we move forward on this. But I'm hoping to support this because I think the concept is actually very well thought out. But I still would like to hold it to see the map.
Madam Chair, I would support that hold. We'll get him the map.
Thank you.
Moving along.
Senator Benson, you're on mute. You're on mute, Senator Benson.
Okay. I would like for us not to hold this bill longer than tomorrow because we have a busy week next week. We need to get this information as soon as possible so that we can vote at least this one bill here. Okay?
I agree.
Okay.
Destiny, will you follow up on that for us, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Moving right along, House Bill 974, alcohol beverages Sunday off-sale permits. Madam Attorney.
The bill expands who may obtain a Sunday off-sale permit by authorizing the Prince George's County Board of License Commissioners to issue a Sunday off-sale permit to any Class A or Class B license holder with an off-sale privilege. It alters the reinvestment requirement for an application for a Sunday off-sale permit and requires the board to revoke a license if a license holder or a stockholder of a corporation that uses the license is convicted of a felony that is related to operations under the license. If there is a conviction, the board may not approve the license renewal until at least 10 years have lapsed after the date of the felony conviction. Lastly, the bill requires the board to conduct a study of Sunday off-sale permits to determine how many permit holders failed to make the required reinvestments and how many times the reinvestment requirement was waived. The board must submit a report of its findings to the Prince George's County Executive and the Prince George's County House Delegation on or before January 1st, 2023.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Senator.
Yes, I'd like to, I'm certainly in favor of this. I think we've looked at this a few times. As a person who at one time in their career, a long time ago, sort of worked at these facilities. But secondly, I just think that we cannot restrict businesses that are doing what they're supposed to do to have an opportunity to prosper. And I think the restrictions have done that far too long. And I think we need to correct that. And they have to meet with qualifications. We're not giving anybody anything but an opportunity. So I'm in favor of the bill and I move favorable.
Second.
A second
Madam Chair, on the bill.
on the bill.
On the bill. Madam Chair, I'm going to be voting no on this. The public health data is unambiguous. Access to alcohol leads to poorer outcomes, substance abuse, and the issues that we end up having to deal with when we have to deal with the domestic violence that folks come to us with. That's what this does. This adds additional access to a substance abuse situation where we just don't need. The public health information is very clear. I understand that the businesses want to have more profit, but we end up having to pay for the downside of this. This is bad public policy. We need to protect the people who we represent. I will be voting no on this.
Okay, is there,
Madam Chair,
yeah,
Madam Chair.
okay,
Madam
yes.
I'm going to be supporting the bill. And one of the reasons is similar to the debate that I heard on the last bill, where we talked about moving licenses from one area to another area, but not increasing the total number of licenses in Prince George's County. To me, that bill is simply a reshuffling of existing resources based on maybe the movement of the population. The bill that I see before us on Sunday sales speaks to allowing businesses that are already located in Prince George's County, already licensed, to sell their product on another day. People who want to purchase on Sunday can purchase already in Prince George's County, in other parts of the county where the licenses are already available. In addition, and we had this debate when I was in the House almost a decade ago, Montgomery County, Charles County, Howard County, Anne Arundel County, and the District of Columbia, almost every jurisdiction that borders Prince George's County has Sunday sales. And we determined years ago to allow our businesses that are duly licensed in the county to sell on Sundays, and we picked winners and losers. And so those issues that my colleague pointed out, those public health issues, in fact, are deep concerns of mine. I'm a social worker. But the bottom line is, if someone can already purchase on 214 or 202, so another store that is duly licensed in that same jurisdiction, to me, is not increasing that public health issue. And I've seen the data that the gentleman shared an article that was from 2010. I was looking for and raised a question specifically about Prince George's County since the Sunday sales passed to see if we've actually seen an increase in reported public health issues. But for me, it's a matter of we already have Sunday sales. We shouldn't be picking winners and losers, and our constituents can already purchase in our county on Sunday. So I'm voting yes.
Okay, Senator Jackson,
That was enough for me. Thank you.
Roll call.
okay, roll call. Did we get a motion to,
Yes.
Yes.
okay, roll call.
All right. Senator
Yes.
Austin,
No.
Senator Griffith,
I vote aye.
Senator Jackson.
Aye.
Was that aye?
Aye. Yes, ma'am.
Senator Rosapet,
No.
Senator Patterson,
Aye.
Senator Peters,
Aye.
Senator Pinsky,
No.
and Chair Benson.
Aye. Haven't received adequate numbers of the bill passes. Okay, let's move down to House Bill 981, and we'll come back to 980. 981, Madam Attorney.
The bill limits the properties for which the tax collector in Prince George's County must conduct a tax sale by limited auction, so that the limited auction is required only for abandoned property consisting of either a vacant lot or improved property cited as vacant and unfit for habitation on a housing or building violation notice. The bill alters the requirements for who may participate in a limited auction by requiring that an individual work in the county if the individual is either employed by a federal agency or is an honorably discharged veteran. Lastly, the bill establishes that if a purchaser at a limited auction was not an eligible participant, in addition to the certificate of sale for the property being void, any right or interest of the holder of the certificate of sale is void, and any payment received by the collector at the sale must be forfeited and applied to any taxes in arrears on the property.
Are there any questions? Could I get a motion on this bill then?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Favorable.
Okay. Oh, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we move and accept House Bill 981. Are you ready to vote? All those who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Now, we're going to move now to House Bill 980. I'm going to give this responsibility, as I told you all at the last meeting, we want to give it to Senator Obi Patterson. But before we do that, I want to tell everybody who's listening, every bill that's on this agenda, every bill that we have talked about tonight has had a public hearing. The first public hearing was November the 19th at 7 p.m. And that was to the public of Prince George's County, and notification was put on the website and people received notification that it was going to happen. The second hearing, another hearing, took place on February the 2nd at 7 p.m. for these bills that are on this agenda. If one was not discussed on November the 19th, it was discussed on February the 2nd. And the reason why we had the hearing on February the 2nd was because it was designed for bills that were late. And in a number of instances, they were late because more work had to be done on them. And they were not ready for public hearing on November the 19th. That is the policy, that's the law that's put in place here in the state of Maryland, that a public hearing must take place before we hear the bills down here in Annapolis and before they come across the street.
I think you did. I think you took it.
The hearing, as I indicated, took place on November the 19th and February the 2nd. The bill 980 was heard in county affairs on February the 17th. They was voted out of the County Affairs Committee here in Annapolis after getting more input from the public on February the 24th. It was passed in the House on February the 26th. That was of the Prince George's delegation. Heard at ENT March the 18th, and it passed the House of Delegates on March the 20th. We also want the public to know that before a bill is heard in the county council, it must go before the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. Now, a shovel can be put in the dirt without it first being sent to the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. They are the ones who do the zoning. They are the ones who are chiefly responsible for getting the process started. This bill 980 has been worked on for over 7 years, over 400 hearings. I couldn't believe it, but I had to look at the paperwork to just satisfy myself, have been heard on this bill. But even more of concerning is that it has cost the taxpayers money. The zoning for Prince George's County has not taken place. The map that we're talking about has not been acted on since 1960. No other county, nowhere in the metropolitan area do we have such a statistic. So it is absolutely critical for the progress of Prince George's County that we take some action relative to moving this plan forward. That's exactly where we are. But I don't want the public to think that we're down here doing slick and slimy stuff, because that's not a part of who we are. And I'm speaking for every senator that's down here. And so I'm a tad bit offended that someone is saying, well, we didn't have a public hearing. That is absolutely not true. That is not true. And I refuse, as the chair of the Prince George's Senators, to accept that. And yes, I am protecting the senators down here and will face anyone on this fact, because we are not full of foolishness down here. We've got to get things done. And that's exactly what we're doing. And with that, so that I can get myself calmed down, I want to turn it over to the vice chair of this committee, of the Senate delegation. I'm sorry, but I just have to say that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All.
And speaking on HB 980, as most of you know, all of you must know, that at the last meeting, the chair asked me to do a preliminary lead on this piece of legislation. And I had seeked out to do just that. I've been in contact with county council members, communicating with, I think all the senators, either by email or telephone, in an effort to try to get as close as we possibly could
Can you give me ice
in
and
submitting a unified
I have some.
recommendation that might be applicable to House Bill 980. I've been in, I've received comments from Senator Penske, Senator Rosenpep, and I got some written information from Councilmember Todd Turner. So this has not been an easy task as I thought it might be. There's a lot of mistrust out there in the community. And it's time for us to bring this matter to close. And let me just say right off front that we do not want to do anything that's going to damage significantly the opportunity for our county council members to continue doing what they need to do relative to the map amendment and the zoning authority. So I don't want us at the end of this day to think that there's a us versus them. We are all in this game together, and we have to do the best collectively that we can do for the betterment of our county. And I've taken upon myself to utilize a large portion of Senator Penske's amendment and try to incorporate that into one or two lines of an amendment that I had put together. And Madam Chair, that is what I bring to you after your request, and perhaps the attorney, she would be so kind enough to run through that amendment. I would be so grateful.
Of course, thanks, Senator Patterson. So the amendment does two different things. The first thing that the amendment does is prohibits a member of the Prince George's County Council, including a candidate for county council, from accepting payment from an applicant or their agent from July 1st, 2021 through April 15th of 2022. The second thing that it does is it prohibits the Prince George's District Council and the Planning Board, when they're approving and adopting a countywide zoning map amendment, from approving or recommending an application for a property if the application is substantially different from the applicable zoning category or classification specified in the county's approval guide to new zones that they adopted, I think, in 2019. There is an exception to the prohibition that if it's determined that an error was made to the property's zoning category or classification, then they can go back and approve that, that application.
Madam Chair, that is one recommendation, and I move to place this amendment on the docket for approval.
Mr. Vice Chair.
I think you have to accept and then for discussion, right, Madam Chair?
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you're running this part of the meeting. Could we split them and take them up individually?
Providing you do the first.
Well, Mr. Chair, we didn't have a second on that.
I don't care. I don't care what order. I'm not trying to jam
Okay.
anything. Whatever
Okay.
order you want, Mr. Vice Chairman. I just want to take them up independently. I have some questions, and
Okay.
And
So-
I do, can I ask a question also?
Sure, you can.
I do, I apologize. I heard you saying that you had shared your amendment with members. I don't think I ever received whatever correspondence you sent out, so I apologize, but I think I can follow the conversation, and Lord knows I'm familiar enough with the issue. But
Okay.
I would prefer to separate the issue because I had heard about Senator Penske's amendment, and it'd be easier for me not to mush them together if that's possible.
Okay, we'll do that. Then we'll take the first part of the package, which will be inclusive of my amendment, and we'll vote on that first. Could you read the first part again for us, Attorney?
Sure. So the first part of the amendment is the prohibition on campaign contributions. It prohibits a member of the Prince George's County Council, including a candidate for the county council, from accepting payment from an applicant or their agent from July 1st, 2021 through April 15th, 2022.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Vice Chairman?
Shirley?
So I'm trying to understand how this plays out. So for that year and a half, if I am a candidate, or I'm going to be a candidate next election, I would check through the 800 or 1,200 affidavits to see and have that list. So when people contribute to me, I cross-check with that list, and if they are among that group, that I won't take their money. I'm just trying to understand how this works. Will work.
You can take money, and it happened, but you have to file an affidavit to indicate that you have taken money, and then you just have to recuse yourself if you happen to have that piece of legislation before you as a council member.
Right, but let me ask another question if I can, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
If this bill is about a countywide master plan that's not about individual properties or projects,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't this take us back to where we were? I mean, it's my understanding that some people got $100 donation from some non-builders or developers. And because of that, they couldn't proceed with this countywide comprehensive master list. So if they take,
Not my understanding from council. Is that right, council?
So I'm sorry, Senator Pinsky. So can you repeat your question?
it's my understanding, and look, I am far from an expert in this. I know about this much. It's my understanding that a number, I guess at least 6 or 7 of the current council members received small donations, I think they're generally small, from people who had filed affidavits that they didn't know had filed affidavits, who were not builders or developers. But because they had filed an affidavit, they had to recuse themselves. And that's why this whole comprehensive master plan has come to a stop.
Well, but Senator Penske, I think the first thing we need to understand, a law is a law. And for them to even get to the point of what we're talking about, apparently they did not fully abide by the law of the land.
Well, Senator, I'll say one more thing and I'll defer to Senator Griffith. I mean, normally, I think when that law passed, and I voted for that bill. I think I was here, you know.
Yeah.
When you put it in place.
I was on the council when it was passed.
That
I wrote to the Attorney General and told him I felt it was out of line, it was discriminatory. And I still, to this day, don't think it's a fair thing to do. But I think if we want to relinquish that, then we have to do it the right way. We need to put a bill in specifically to do just that, like we did last year.
okay, well, let me finish my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
My understanding, we didn't want someone to take a $2,000 or $5,000 contribution from a developer and then vote on their project. We wanted to avoid the pay to play.
But those who supported that legislation, but I'm not in that category because I never did support it, but go ahead.
That's not my point, Senator. I just want to get the facts out.
Put it out.
That this master plan is for them to go from 73 zones to 43 zones or 42 zones, set guardrails for the next 10, 20, or 30 years as to where areas should develop, agricultural, industrial, residential, whatever. It's not about exceptions for Joe Smith or Bazzuto or this company or that company. And that's why when you're dealing with a whole countywide thing and you've got non-developers who contribute to your campaign and you didn't know they were presenting, that's what stopped this process. So I'm just a little confused.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I share Senator Penske's concerns, having been here when the initial legislation was passed, as were almost all of us. When this bill came before us, and I, like everyone, has heard from countless constituents, but I think that the way that I read the bill, and even what Senator Patterson has proposed, I believe that there were some unintended consequences set into motion when we passed the legislation some years ago. And when I hear the amendments, I think I get your intent, Senator Patterson, but what I hear when I hear the amendments is that we'd be exacerbating the unintended consequences that we set into motion with the previous bill. And so we'd be making a situation that I don't think was our intent, getting, Mary Smith from down the road who supported a candidate and putting her and the council member in a position where they're not able to participate in a process. So based on my understanding of your amendment and the bill, I'm gonna pass on that amendment.
Okay. Well, Council, I ask you this very specifically. If my amendment passed, would that inhibit the council for doing what they're attempting to do at this point? Am I right about that? Will
Well,
it?
it depends on whether or not they take the contribution, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
if they take the contribution, then they can't participate. But what I'm hearing is, yes, this amendment treats all applicants the same. So regardless of whether or not they're a big developer or they're, Mary Smith,
I guess my
right?
question
They're all
more
treated the same way.
specifically, if they take a contribution, if they don't take a contribution, can they do what they need to do?
Yes,
I didn't understand. I want to hear you. Is that a yes?
yes.
Chair, this is Jim Rosenpep. Actually, this is for Senator Patterson.
Yeah.
Talked about a particular date from this year to a date next year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand how you came up with those dates exactly.
Well, basically, it was the dates that we got from the county. I think that's how we originally got the dates through the bill that they submitted to us.
So it's the requirement to not vote on something where you got a contribution would go from July 1st of 2021.
It was originally from July to, I believe, December. Am I right, Council?
I think, so which date are you talking about, Senator Patterson?
I'm talking about the date that that the bill will still be alive. Is that what you meant, Senator Rhodes?
The original sunset date.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I'm sorry, so go ahead.
The original, so the sunset date in the bill currently, right, the bill goes into effect July 1st, 2021, and then terminates December 31st, 2022. For Senator Patterson's amendment, the specific dates for the prohibition on when you can take the campaign contribution, the July 1st, 2021 is just when the bill goes into effect. And then the April 15th, 2022 date was there to allow the senators, the General Assembly, if you felt like it needed to be extended, you have the opportunity next session to come back and push it out further if you wanted to.
But I thought people were prohibited now.
They are.
So this would allow anybody from now until July 1st to take contributions and vote, and anybody after April of next year to take contributions and vote?
Senator Penske, I was trying to reach a compromise to get everybody on this thing together. I agree. They should not be taken in now or in the past. I mean, to be honest with you, right? Or in the future.
I wonder if we could hear Senator Penske's amendment, if
Sure.
people are open to that, because I didn't hear a second on the first one, and I'd like to hear the two separately. If we could.
You're on mute.
I don't want to give short shrift to Senator Patterson's. I think they're mutually exclusive. And I think we should, I mean, I'm happy to do it, but Senator Patterson wanted to take his first. So I don't want to usurp that. I'll do whatever people want.
Well, let's hear from some of the other senators. How you feel about the the process. I mean, we've, you know,
But Senator, before we do that, I guess
go ahead.
if I'm a candidate, and so if someone gives me money, do I have to go through the list of 800 people who filled it out an affidavit regarding the comprehensive zoning map before I cash that check? I guess that's the question. Because if I by mistake take $100 from my down the street neighbor and they filed an affidavit, then I can't proceed with this comprehensive zoning plan that everyone thinks is so important. So I just want to know if that's what you want to happen or not. I mean, look, I don't want developers or builders to buy their way in and get any advantage. I'm with you on that. But I'm just trying to see how this works in the real world if I'm a new candidate for the council and knowing there are a lot of people, big and small, who filed these affidavits.
Well, Senator, I just look at it like you look at any other law. We have to know when we come on as candidate that there's a limit in terms of monies that we can accept. There's a cap on it, how much we can take. So the same process is in place here. This is a law that was put in by the county at the request of the county executive, through the county council, through the state. And it's, my big concern, I'm getting beat up badly from people in my district. I go home on the weekends and, you know, I get 3 requests for Zoom calls. Now, maybe the folks don't quite understand the nature of what's at stake here. And I won't deny that, but I have to listen to those who put me here to speak on their behalf. But I want to do the right thing. I want to do the right thing by the county, but I also, you know, the climate, the perception plays also into this process as well. Let me hear from some of the Jackson, Peters, St. Augustine, Senator Benson. Can you guys chime in a little bit? What do you? What's your thoughts? What's your take?
Well, the one thing that I'm very concerned about is I understand this issue with the developer and business people, but I don't want my next door neighbor who contributes to my campaign to be locked in. I want my neighbors, I want the members of the 202 coalition who give the $100, the $50, I want them to continue to contribute to my campaign. That's the piece that I want to be sure that we protect.
Sure.
I'm just not concerned about developers, but I'm concerned about my pastor, my pastor, First Baptist Church, who is very supportive. The members of my church are very supportive. I want them to continue because they know that I'm doing a wonderful job down here, and they want to be sure that I am supported.
Madam Chair, how about we just vote on both of them? I'll second Obi's amendment, and let's just put it to a vote.
Okay. Okay, are you ready to vote on Senator Patterson's? Are you going to do both?
Madam Chair.
Just Senator Patterson's. Let's do his.
Yeah,
first.
just my motion first, and then we go.
Madam Chair, this is Jim. I mean, I'm just confused about it. I mean, I don't know how to vote. It strikes me that limiting this for a limited period of time opens it up for another period of time, unless I'm misunderstanding it. Maybe the council could clarify that.
Well, the council was before Senator Penske today at a public hearing. So I think he made a pretty good effort of trying to explain it, but you know, I'm basically at the same point that I was like 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
We got a motion on the floor to accept your amendment.
Discussion, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say before we do place this vote, I mean, this is a very, very important, very, very big vote, no question about it. And there is just explaining my vote, way too unclear about the ramifications of this amendment and the way that it's set up for me to be able to be supportive of it. And so I just want to share that now before, you know, we kind of move into that next phase. just based on all that we've just been talking about with regard to this amendment.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, are we ready to vote on Senator Patterson's bill? Okay, Destiny, would you take the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so Senator Augustine,
No,
Senator Griffith,
I vote no.
Senator Jackson, Senator Jackson, you're on mute.
He's praying.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yes is your vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Senator Rosapet,
Pass.
Senator Patterson,
Yes.
Senator Peters,
Aye.
Senator Pinsky,
No.
Chair Benson.
Yes,
We have 5-3 favorable.
okay.
Now let's go to the part, Senator Pinsky.
Members of the delegation, I tried to do as much research as I could. It's, I've been told it's not the intent to do individual properties or projects. And in fact, I think their resolution says it's not the intent. I wanted to try to close that door to make it clear. So I think we've distributed an amendment that says the planning board may not recommend and district council may not approve any request made by or behalf of any person or for zone intensification that differs substantially from the applicable zoning category classification recommended in the matrix. And there are a few more words to it, but I think if this is a macro 30,000 foot plan, we don't want to have individual projects approved that are going to upzone or intensify zoning. So I'm hoping this helps close the door that some of the concerns voiced by people blocks that opportunity. I think no one thinks this is someone to come in for an exception that I want these 10 acres to be go from residential to commercial. And I don't think that's the intent. So this paragraph seeks to try to clarify that and make it clear that we're not going to have people gaming the system. So that's the closest I could come. I don't know if everybody's happy. Some will say it doesn't go far enough. Some will say it goes too far. I just think this helps clarify the process.
Madam Chair, move favorable on that.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept and add Senator Pinsky's amendment to the bill. Those who are in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition? Okay, moving right along.
Madam Chair, I think
Bill
the
as
vote count
amended.
was 4-3-1 on the last bill. I think Senator Rosapet passed.
I did.
I thought he said.
My apologies. I thought I heard yes.
No problem.
Okay, moving right along. On the bill as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and properly second that we accept the
Wait
bill
a
as
minute.
amended.
Council has a hand raised.
Yeah, sorry, can I just
That's
ask
all
this? I just want to clarify.
Hold up, Madam Chair. If I could, do we need clarification? So if we had a 4-3-1, is that favorable?
So Senate, the campaign prohibition did not pass. If it was 4-3-1, it didn't pass.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'm not
Yes.
impressed with you at all. I just
What?
understand what the effect of that would be, and I passed because I'm just not sure whether it makes things better or makes things worse, and that's why I passed.
You understand the next part?
You mean Senator Pinsky's?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I do understand Senator Pinsky's, and I supported Senator Pinsky's, and I think that makes sense. As he said, I don't think it solves all the problems, but I apologize. I just, having a time-limited restriction, to me, begs the question, what happens the rest of the time? That's why I confess to being confused.
So, Madam Chair, we know I appreciate the dialogue, but the bells are ringing. I know we have a long session. Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, we have a motion and a second on the bill, just to clarify with the Penske amendments.
Madam Chair, I move to make a substitute motion. At this point, I move that we table us and try to come back at another time when we can clarify the situation, because I can tell you right now, I am not going independently on, I like what Penske got, but I cannot vote for that portion without what I believe the core principle of what I tried to bring to the table as it relates to this piece of legislation.
Madam Chair, I'll second that motion just for exactly the same reason. I think it's an important issue. I just think we have it resolved, and I'm happy to work on it with everybody.
Okay. It's been
So
moved.
can I just ask a question though?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be smart, but you're not saying that you just want to keep holding and keep us coming back until,
No.
okay.
I'd like to give it one more try, see if we can get all the information that Senator Rosenfeld has, and then we can vote it up and down once we get back the second time around. And we should be able to do this hopefully by Monday.
Okay, the motion has been to table it.
Yes.
All those who are, Destiny, would you take a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. So on the motion to table,
Yeah.
HB 980, Senator Augustine,
Pass. I pull a.
Senator Griffith,
Thank you. I'm going to vote no, but I'm going to also say sometimes in delegation, we reverse the voting order because we're always.
Right, Augustine
Order
gets to
putting
go first.
Augustine and me
Keep
on
going. I'm
left.
sorry, keep going, please.
I'm voting
Destiny.
no and explaining my vote. This 980 has been before the
I know,
delegation,
man.
as the chair stated, for years.
Jake
It's
have a
been before the
refrigerator?
House, it's been in here. We've had
Jake have a
plenty of
refrigerator?
time.
I don't
So-
know. I'll just leave it. I will.
Okay, keep going, Destiny.
okay, Senator Jackson, this is on to table it.
Hey, table it.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Rather not, but. Am I the first vote?
No,
Oh, you're third.
you're the
I was
third.
the third and nobody else voted before me.
Yeah, he passed and I said no.
I mean, can we, how long does it take us to hammer this out?
7 years.
No, it didn't take us 7 years.
It has been. This bill's
All
been
right.
before the.
I'll vote yes to allow the two senators to kind of figure out.
Thank you very much.
Senator Roosevelt,
Yes.
Senator Peters.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put it in here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Senator Peters,
Yes.
Senator Penske,
I'm a Senator Griffith, no.
Senator Patterson,
Yes.
and Chair Benson.
Yes.
5 yes, 2 no, 1 pass. Crystal,
Okay.
does that it passes? right?
Okay, we're gonna work this out. Today is Thursday.
That's what you said last time.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine.
It's politics.
That's
Getting
the way, that's
closer.
the way the cookie crumbles around here.
Yeah.
Right.
Madam Chair, I have a quick.
We'll get
thing
back
for
to
the-
you. Yes.
One second. Senator Roosevelt, Senator Griffith, and I, we had to make a technical amendment on the pilot bill in B and T.
All right.
We just want to let you know that it's just a technical amendment, okay?
Yeah, thank you for that, Senator Peters. I did check with the county and they told me the bill actually passed
responded.
out of the House with that amendment on it and somehow, yeah, so.
Okay, so we're on our way over to the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Miss Crystal, could you stay on the call for a moment?
Sure. of
Okay,
course.
thank you, Destiny.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Crystal,
Yes.
6:20, did you see my chat?
Yeah, I apologize. I just saw it about 2 minutes ago. So
Okay.
let me pull up 625 again.